Going live. Specific at the same time. So we're just going to wait and see how many people we get on here for another couple of seconds, and then we're going to start talking. I don't know if you guys can see in the back my new painting, but I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling the whole, I guess, African vibe. I'm feeling the whole Egyptian comedic vibe. I'm feeling all of that stuff. I'm feeling all of the ancestry stuff. I'm feeling all of this stuff just happen to come to the surface now. I think that's what we're going to discuss a little bit of today as well. But I have so much things to kind of just toss in there in that topic. But Mike is talking about what you devote your time to is what you become. And that's a very important topic for me today because a lot of people seem to be very distracted these days, and they spend their life devoting a lot of time from their life to things that are not really serving their purpose, are not serving their highest good. And that's why I want to talk about it today because, obviously, whatever you devote your life to is what you become. Okay. And a lot of the times, the things that we want to be, we want so much. We want to be, we want to do, we want to have, we want to see. We don't believe a lot of things unless we see it in this modern age. Let me just open this window. And we don't realize that the things that we want to do certain things, we want to have certain things or see it manifest for us, we've got to spend our time and focus our attention on those things. For instance, like how I talk about metaphysics, we talk about magic, we talk about attracting things, we talk about all of this, right? If you spend your life, let's just say, idly doing random things, eating, going out, watching movies, watching TV, whatever, wasting time, you're not going to see yourself get better. You're not going to actually grow in whatever that is you're trying to see you grow into. So it's a very imperative that we actually spend our time wisely. And I was just watching a video earlier this morning on a channel that I have recently started following, subscribed to, and S. Ali Myers. Big ups to your channel. He does an excellent job at helping people, guiding people along this whole journey of spirituality and truth. And he was talking about, well, this is a rather old video that I was watching. It's from a couple of years back, but it's the information is very relevant today, as it will always be, in finding what your true purpose is. And whatever that purpose is, whatever it is, that's what you want to be spending your life actually doing. You know what I mean? You don't have to do it every single moment of every single day, but at the same time, you want to incorporate those practices or the kinds of practices that will bring that into actualization, whatever that calling or passion or purpose you feel is. Some people don't even know what their purpose is, and it's very sad when you look at a person who is, like, say, let's say in their 30s, about to hit 40 years old, nearly middle-aged, what they would call middle-aged, who doesn't know what their purpose is, who doesn't have a clue what their purpose is in this world, in this life. Now, I don't believe, as I'm learning more about this whole comedic science stuff, as I'm learning and getting a little deeper and starting to do meditations and all of this kind of stuff, I'm starting, my eyes or inner eyes are starting to open a whole lot wider to what my purpose is. Now, some people would believe that their purpose is to do this, that, or the next thing. You know, when your purpose, there's depths to your purpose, is what I'm realizing. Like, you know, some people say, oh, I want to do art. That's my purpose. I love art. I love to draw. Just looking at this portrait behind me. I have to get a nice frame for that, by the way. But like I said, there's depths to that. And the deeper part of you being an artist is what kind of feeling do you want to invoke from people or in people or of yourself, actually. Some people would say to be an artist is to be an expressive person, to express beauty or to bring beauty to the eyes of the beholders who see their artwork, or, you know, to bring about a certain type of emotion from people, or, you know, all of that could be very well true because artists have a sense of creativity that goes deeper than the eyes can see. You know what I mean? So finding your purpose is very important, and knowing how to work along those lines is very important. I mean, you have to know what the purpose actually is before you can start to work towards it, you know? So for me, art is my way of expressing myself. That's the first reason I do it. That's the first thing. I love to see beautiful things. I love to be surrounded by beautiful things, you know, but to express how I'm feeling is the number one, is the first cause of creating any kind of art. Sometimes I just don't like to throw things away. Sometimes I just like to use what I have and bring it back to life, like to repurpose something, you know, to create. In other words, that's the deepest depth I could think about, to create, to actually use my hands and create something. A lot of the things you guys will be seeing uh, more regularly would be things that I have created because I am surrounded by my own creations a lot of the time. Um, like I said about the jewelry and stuff like that, I do that. It's just natural for me. It's just something that I naturally do. But for most people, you have to find out what your purpose is. And to find out what your purpose is to just think about what you would actually feel comfortable doing. Like S. Ali says, for free. Would you do that for free? Like something like this behind me, I would do that. I did that for free. This was something, a day that I just had a lot of things on my mind. Um, I I had a lot of actual spare items hanging around. And I said, you know, something I'm feeling. This was when I was starting to kind of come out with my, I guess, esoteric nature a little more and to be more bold about it, to not actually hide it in any kind of way, to feel more free and open to express how I feel or my perspective of things. And this is called transcendence. That's as if you can't see. I want to bring it a little closer, but it's a little dusty because I had it up on top of the shelf for the last like year. And the dust is so bad on there. I gotta get like a vacuum, or not a vacuum, a blower, and just blow a lot of the dust off of it outside because it's wiping the paint off when I try to clean it off by hand with a little dish soap and stuff. The paint is starting to come off, and I do not want that. So I'm going to clean it properly, and then I'm going to seal it with something, which I normally do. I didn't do on this one. But transcendence, that's what this painting was all about. It's about rising from the ashes. Let's see here. And it was not done on canvas. This one was done on cardstock. And here it is, the depiction of a Black or indigenous or ethnic female who is different. She is the epitome of esoterics. She always stands out in the crowd. She's not like anybody else in the crowd. You know, she's confident in who she is, but one time ago she was not very confident. So now she's been through a lot, been to hell and back basically, and is now ready to throw away all of the painful past, all of the painful emotions that she may have felt, the limiting beliefs and thoughts. And like you can see below, she's emerging from the ashes, her new self. She's transcending from one realm to another consciously. And so this is one of my favorite and most recent pieces. And I love it. So, you guys, talking about that now, I'm going to just put her back. Hope you didn't see too much dust like that. But I'm going to just wipe it, like I said, move it off or something. It's not terribly bad, but thankfully a lot of it has ash on there. I use actual ash. I use actual ash at the base to signify. But like I was saying before now, what you devote your time to is exactly what you become. And so to be a certain age, you need to know what you want to see yourself become. I also follow somebody, Lisa Marie Goodson, Blackberry Beauty Academy, Ancient Wisdom for the Modern Sister. And she's talking a lot about her fitness journey nowadays and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of myself one time ago. I'm still kind of that fit chick as well, but I am so much more immersed into now this area that I've kind of subtly like put it down for a little bit, my running and my weightlifting and stuff like that for a little bit. I haven't completely put it away and stopped, but I'm just, you know, finding the time to prioritize different things on different days. But she's talking about how, her journey has been going in fitness. And now that she started to lift weights and stuff like that, she became a runner a little while back. And that was something new for her. That was something that actually opened her eyes to a whole new her, and now she's moving into a new phase of fitness. And that's what we have to do. We have to evolve, we grow, we change, we experience so many different aspects in life. But to know your true inner, deeper purpose is what leads you to all of these amazing experiences, all of these new, wonderful avenues that you can take. It is something that everybody needs to just take the time out to focus, to go deep within themselves, to understand what they are here to do. You're not here to just go to work, get paid, pay the bills, have kids, get old, retire, and die. That is just the most tragic existence I can imagine. And so obviously in the midst of all this, in the middle of our lives, you're never going to come back and be the same person again, you know? I said this to my husband the other day, and I'm like, we're talking about the same subject, and I'm like, it's the saddest thing to see. He actually said it, not me. He said, people think that we just come here to work and then get sick and die, and I was like, I mentioned the same thing. You're not going to be the same self. You're not going to come back ever as the same person again. You're going to be, different expressions and manifestations of the one, the all. And he's like, what? You're going to come back? Like, what? You think I want to do this again? Like, because, he has that Christian upbringing as well. And he has that kind of fixed mindset, believing that there's this one way only. And as he sees me evolve, as he sees me understand new things and research, and I always try to spread knowledge, the things that I learn or come across, I don't force it down anybody's throat. But if you're so inclined to listen, I am definitely so inclined to tell. Okay. And he's like, like what? Come back. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, he was, and I said, yeah, like, that's what I'm starting to believe, because God is infinite. God is the all. Okay. I just finished listening to a 4-hour, a myriad of like 4-hour lectures and stuff like that on Tahuti, on Heteru, on all of these deities, these Egyptian deities at least. I'd like to listen to learn about people, stuff like Ganesha and Lakshmi and all that kind of stuff. Lakshmi, I like to say. But by learning about these things, the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, all of these stuff, it kind of makes a better understanding, makes me have a better understanding of life. And I feel like we are not going to just come here this one time and disappear forever, and our soul just remains as this one soul in, I guess, eternity. I believe that God is infinite, God is everything. So the all, such as the Book of Thoth talks about, so there's many incarnations that we can come back as. Of course, I believe in a self, in a soul, that every one of us has a spirit. No matter how many times we come back, that spirit, I believe, can never be the same as another. So if I come back and reincarnate as another person, like in a next life, I believe that Sue's spirit will still be Sue's spirit, that nobody can come now and try to duplicate Sue's spirit, It's going to be that one spirit that you are. But you're going to come back as a representation of the all in many forms, if that makes sense. So anyway, when I tried to explain that to him, I didn't go into all of that detail and stuff like that. He was like, what? You think I want to do this again? And I'm like, you know what? No matter what you believe, no matter what religion you are from, no matter what, whatever, you want to get it right now. You don't want to wait until you're dead or the day before you die to try to get it right. You don't want to wait. You don't want to, if we don't have this one life right now, if there is such a thing as past lives, and reincarnation, why the hell would you want to come back like 13, 14 times to try to get it right? This world is not the easiest place to live. And so if I can free myself now from the restrictions, from the oppression, from the torment and pain of this realm, why wouldn't I? Why would I want to remain brain dead, And life is short, but trust me, each and every day has 24 hours, okay? And we live thousands and thousands of them. So it's very long when you actually think about it. So why wouldn't you want to get it right the first time? I just don't understand that. And so we have to actually stop wasting so much time on the mundane, wasting so much time on the frivolous, wasting so much time on just garbage, to put it simply, because this is the system, exact system that we always talk about, that we don't like, that we actually are trying to free ourselves from. So why wouldn't you try on a daily basis to be freeing yourself from this? You don't have a physical oppressor with a whip behind your back, anymore, for most of us at least. There are still people living in that kind of slavery. But for us, our slavery is mental. Our slavery is so intensely mental that it can be perceived as love. It can be perceived as anything but slavery, when in fact you are being enslaved. It's an imprisonment of your mind. And so consciously, why not go after trying to free yourself consciously from that, or of that, My husband also talked about the cat o' nine tail. For any of you guys, I don't know, if you've ever heard that word before, but coming from the Bahamas, the cat o' nine tail, I wish I could put a picture up here right now, but is a device or a tool, basically a whip, like a whip with teeth on it, that they used to use to punish people for committing crimes in countries such as this, like third world countries, Caribbean countries, perhaps African countries, because I believe it may have come from there as well. Black people could be very cruel, and the white man used the black man to do the cruelest of acts for them so that they can seem innocent, and black people turn to hate one another. The cat o' nine tail, people talk about bringing the cat o' nine tail back. Why would you have to bring the cat o' nine tail back in 2018? That's the exact thing we don't want. That's the exact mindset that is sickening to actually believe that people would say those kinds of things in this day and age, modern age. But it goes to show the level of slavery mentality that they actually have. So my husband was like, if somebody ever said that again to him, he said he heard people mentioning it as topics when they talk about crime, they talk about, criminals who actually escape justice, and people mentioning the fact that they should bring the cat o' nine tail back just for those people. Well, he said, if you want to bring it back, then you should whip them first with it and let them see how it feels. Then ask them if they still feel the same way. It's that kind of mentality that keeps us in bondage, man. You should bring the cat o' nine tail back. A whip to whip niggas? To whip grown ass niggas? Like, seriously? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, back to what I was saying now. In order for us to talk about becoming your better self, your higher self, your greatest self, each and every day is an advancement process. It's a growth. It's like I always talk about. It's like a lotus flower blooming, just blossoming. You don't know where that could take you. You don't know the adventures and stuff along this journey that can lead to. So it's imperative for us to actually move towards becoming better each and every day, better people, whether that's in whatever field you are in, whether it's whatever passion you are in. Sit down. I implore you to sit down and meditate and to kind of get in touch with yourself more. All the magic, all the money spells, all the love spells, all the things like that, they are secondary. You got to know first who you are. That is the most critical and vital information to your life. You have to know who you are. And in order to love yourself, in order to love your people, you have to love yourself. And in order to love yourself, you have to know who you are. In order to move towards becoming your best self, you have to know where you stand right at this very moment. So instead of meditating and sometimes doing these things on other people, you have to actually focus on self. You have to sit down and take the time out. I've been researching my ancestry line. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The information that I've been finding is just startling. It's like mind blowing because I'm finding out so much things. I just found the death certificate online of my great great grandmother. Could you guys believe that? I found the actual handwritten death certificate, okay? I found the birth certificate of my great grandmother and the death certificate of my great great grandmother. Like, wow. And it said cause of death, lockjaw. And it hit me like a sack of bricks. Not a sack of bricks. Bricks don't come in sacks, like a ton of bricks. It hit me because my grandma, I'll never forget when I was a little child, talked about her grandmother dying of lockjaw. And at that time, I was so young, like, yeah, like lockjaw, French Montana, and and Kodak Black, yes. At the time, I didn't know that that was even an ailment. I didn't know that it was a sickness. It was anything. I'm like, how do your jaws get locked? Like, you know what I mean? As a child. But now it's like, okay, locked jaw, a symptom of tetanus. Tetanus, like that thing that happens when like a rusty nail sticks you and you get blood poison from it. Like, It was amazing. And so looking back at it now, what you spend your time, what you devote your time um, paying attention to is what more you become. And I'm feeling now that I didn't know any of these people, but I'm feeling very connected to them now. I'm feeling very connected to my ancestry line. And believe it or not, I'll tell you something too. My daughter and I, for the last probably 4 or 5 months, have started taking a little shortcut to get to her school, which led through a cemetery, a graveyard. That actual pathway, going there almost on a daily basis, walking through there, looking at all of the graves, looking at all of the trees, the animals that surround the graves, like just the aura of that environment led me down such a road just by that act, just that simple act of taking that shortcut through there led me to actually start thinking more about my ancestors, thinking about just simply looking at the graves and wondering, wow, who could be in this place, in these plots that I was related to, or that are related to me, or were related to me? Who could be my family laying down there, And that's what led me to doing ancestry research. That's what led me to setting up an ancestor altar. That's what led me to the point I am now. And if you look back, hindsight really and truly is 2020. Because if you look back at it, everything lines up. There's such a divine intelligence going on in this world, in this planet, in this universe, in us, that is actually syncing everything up. Everything is like in sync, okay? It's amazing. It's magical. It's supernatural. It's phenomenal. It's like really, it's hard to explain. So looking back at that now, all of that contemplation and stuff like that is what led me to the point I am at now. Led me because now thinking about my most recent ancestry line leads me to think about the further genealogy of mine. Where could I have been coming from? All of this kind of stuff. And I know that I'm not just African in heritage, in descent. I know that. I don't believe that for 1 second. I know that is probably predominantly what I am. But I know that everybody, this world, this planet is like filled with everything is just meshed. Like it all comes from the one, the all of us. And so all of us are connected in some kind of way. If you have one guy who was like, say, Sicilian, now that takes your whole like genealogy into a different web. It's we're everything. We're all of that. And this is how I always felt. This is why I don't discriminate on any person. This is why I don't look at myself as just one kind of person. This is why I never have. This is why I've always talked this way. I always been a certain way because I believe I'm everybody, all wrapped up in one. And that's the most awesome thing in the world. And that's how I feel like we should feel. Not to say that you should ignore and downplay the struggles of your people, your current people, but at the same time, we know we're all mixed up. All of us. I could have a pirate in my ancestry line. I could have, I could have Lucayan Indians in my ancestry line. I could have all of that, all of the people that we've ever heard about, Eleutherian adventurers, all of those people. They could be my ancestors as well. So I don't ever downplay any one race or ethnicity because we are all one. All right. So back to the topic, spending your time wisely and moving toward what you want to become. Remember, everything that you do, is a ripple effect in your life. It's going to lead to another road and another road and another road. It's just a never ending thing until your eyes close, And we usually, the TV, the Hollywood life is what makes us think about life in such a vague, way. Like we look at life like it's just like like I said, like it's just like you come here, you work, you flicking get paid, you go to school like the old people used to say, get a good education, so you get a good job, you get a good job so you could get a good nice house and marry and have children, then you pay bills for that house, that one house that is depreciating in value, and then you die. You retire and you die. You know, the TV, the Hollywood life makes you believe that. Like that's not what it's all about. Of course, that is within it, but that is not what it's all about. You can see such great things, such higher heights by actually devoting a little bit of time to the things that you want to see created. You know, life is about we are co-creating with the creator. And so when you look at things from just a religious aspect, you feel like oh well, you know, all you got to do is serve Jesus and God and go to church every Sunday and give your tithes and you straight. You know, you straight. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Listening to the book of the book of Tehuti, you know, the other day, it talks about us actually becoming godlike one day. You know, we look at deity and we revere deity and stuff like that. At least those of us who are so esoterically inclined to do so, and not realizing that one day when we pass from this plane, because there are planes that we're on, not airplanes, physical plane, mental plane, spiritual plane, we pass along to another plane, we would be looked at by the others now on a lower plane than us as deities, as like gods, I guess. Not capital G, but small g, you know? Because our knowledge by that time would have been so much more elevated and advanced as beings that other people now in the future would have to look upon us as having these great powers and wisdom. We would be like Tahuti's and you know Isis. It's really deep to think about, and it makes a lot of sense. So I wanna urge you guys, I want to encourage you guys to actually move more toward what you want to see yourself become, what you want to see manifested in your life, what you want to see um, yourself more able and capable of doing for others, because that's the next big thing. We always look at what it is about ourselves, what can we do for ourselves, which is important because without self you can't do anything else for others. But at the same time, now you have to take that a step further and remember that we're in this together. Like I said, if we are the one, we are one in the all, and all in one. Then it's all about us actually being able to serve others, being able to actually impart knowledge to others, being able to uplift others in any way, shape, or form, not bring others down. And that's what we see happening every day. We see people now becoming what they devote their time to, becoming a dumbed down version of themselves, becoming a less than great version of themselves. You know, the purpose of this life is to actually grow and become better at yourself, not worse. You see, and all the things that we see happening, you know, a lot of people don't really understand this whole thing of the principle of good and evil. You know, it doesn't have to be so if we can actually learn how to work on ourselves. There would be no such thing, or hardly such a thing. You know, there's a reason for everything. Everything happens. Everything that we look at as evil is not necessarily evil. You know, some things just have to be done. Like there are crimes that people actually commit that sometimes have to be done, if that makes sense. You know, people might not fathom how that can make sense, but it does. When you start to get deeper in the knowledge of life and the universe and the universal laws, you will actually understand how that is possible. Look at people who do the most heinous and egregious crimes. People would say, oh, well, you know, we know They are wrong. They're bad people. Doing what they did. People like Hitler, you can't tell him that he didn't have a just cause for what he was doing, you know. And yes, a lot of us agree he was a bad person, but at the same time, what is bad? That is the question. What is bad? So, in order for you to actually know what you want to become, you have to sit down and think about who you are. Think about what you want from this life. Think about what you can do with this life. I look at I look at the kids nowadays, right? We talk about time. We're talking about time right now. Look at the kids nowadays. A lot of kids, children, not baby goats, children, spend their time on devices all day in, day out, if you let them. They would. You hear my daughter? She's laughing. She's using my phone. Seriously. So I'm not gonna act like I'm this big time, strict authoritative mom who's gonna say no cell phone usage from children in my place. You're not gonna eat candy, you're not gonna do none of that. No, it's a democracy, a little bit of a democracy in here, because that's how I was raised. But at the same time, there's a healthy level and there's an unhealthy level. A lot of the children now spend their lives on unhealthy levels of stuff, of gadgets, of staring into screens, playing video games, watching like people make slime and stuff. Like, is that conducive to becoming your highest and better self? Is that conducive to learning anything, or gaining of knowledge for your life? Is that conducive to you actually having healthy vision and brain power? No. So there is a limit to things. Like I said, whatever you devote your time to is what you become more of. So if you don't want to be a walking dead zombie, you don't want to spend your whole life staring into a blank screen, a LCD or whatever screen it may be, on foolishness. My grandma always taught me that growing up. Growing up, we had a cartoon segment every Saturday. Was the big cartoon day for most people because we didn't have cable yet. We got cable until about 96, 7. And so on Saturdays, the local channel would put cartoons on basically until about midday, all morning until midday. And every child knew that's what we did. You get up, you have breakfast, you may help mom or dad or grandma with some cleaning and stuff like that. Then you plop down in the front of the TV and you watch cartoons. You watch, the cartoons were the best. Then they're not so much that now. But my grandma hated that. My grandma hated it. My grandma was like, you know what? Let them go watch their cartoons. But then when you see 12 o'clock come, she's going to come and change that channel quick. Like, it's like, thank God that's over with, because cartoons make children stupid. And that's how my grandma was an educator. She was a teacher. She was, a school principal, a teacher. So she was definitely into your mind, into actually learning, into education. She was not into, spending your time idly doing crap. So growing up now, being the age that I am now, I agree with her completely. I didn't agree so much as a child, but I agree now. Because what are you learning? What are you piling up in your children's mind? What are they piling up? You know, the Disney Channel, for instance, shoots Nickelodeon. I'm so glad we actually, oh my gosh, we boycotted Nickelodeon years ago. And I thought that would never be possible. So now I know that the same thing is true for Disney Channel as well. Like, it has brainwashed a lot of kids and continues to do so. But it's what you allow. It's what you allow. They are the children. You are the parents. You have to actually take a stand and put your foot down and try to mold these kids into what we know their true potential is. They're never going to see it for themselves. They're going to thank you later on, though. Like I said, whatever you spend your time on most is what you're going to become. Look at the greatest athletes. Look at all of these people that we actually look up to so much. These people look at them as superhuman because they are so disciplined. They're so incredibly disciplined. They spend so much of their life devoting their time to their craft, to whatever it is that they do, their profession, their skill set, you know? And they're not superhuman. They are just regular human beings, who have perfected self discipline. It is something that is attainable for each and every one of us. You don't have to become the next LeBron James or, but whatever it is that you devote yourself to, know that do it from a sake of love, from a sake of self-love, and sake of love and appreciation, because that is how you're going to see it unfold into the best possible outcome. Not doing it for the wrong reasons, not doing it to impress anybody else, not doing it to put stuff down people's throats, not doing it for those reasons, doing it because you love doing it to grow, to learn more, because it's something that you are so passionately seeking. And that is what Thoth, I say Thoth, some people say Thoth, whatever, Thoth or Tahuti says in that book, you know, it is to the seeker. It is the seeker who actually is able to free himself. If you're not seeking, you ain't gonna find, to put it simply. So seek to become all that you can become, to unfold like a lotus flower. Seek that, to ever become more. And it's not that you're not grateful for where you are now, because in order to get to point B, you have to be first at point A, where you are right now. And know and trust the process. Know and trust that you will see point B, and that point B will lead straight down the line to every other letter that you're going to get to. The destinations are endless. And so, with that being said, I have been talking for a very long time, but I think I've touched on a lot of the points that I wanted to make today. I also want to actually ask you, if this stream comes up afterward now and you're watching it later, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I actually want you to hit like so that I know that you are understanding and we are relating on this topic. And subscribe to my channel, because I have so much other things that we are going to share together on this channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well on the side so that you know when I am back with some other content, some new content. But once again, remember, what you devote your time to is what you become. And we see so much people devoting their time to things that are not helping them to get anywhere they'd like to see. So if you want to actually reach higher heights, start small and you will see this thing just pick up and start rolling. With that being said, I'm outie. Thanks again for watching. And peace, love, guys. Let's touch hands. Blessed be and namaste until I come back. Bye.